Have you ever wondered why there are certain gaps in your medical history that your doctor can't explain? We like to believe that science is a straight line of progress, but in 1927, a door was opened that the world's superpowers spent the next century trying to weld shut. They didn't bury the files because they were wrong. They buried them because the results are still walking among us. You think your DNA is yours? By the end of this video, you'll realize you might just be the latest version of a prototype that started in the dark. Welcome to Hidden Lab. This isn't history, it's a status report. 1927. A French steamship slipped out of the port of Conakry. On board were 5 passengers that didn't exist on any official manifest. They weren't soldiers, and they weren't prisoners. They were subjects. Ilya Ivanov remembers as a pioneer of artificial insemination, but the Kremlin's secret archives tell a darker story. Under the direct orders of the Soviet elite, Ivanov was tasked with a goal that defied the laws of nature: to erase the line between man and beast. He wasn't just conducting an experiment, he was trying to build a new invincible human, and he didn't care how many lives he had to ruin to stitch them together. The year was 1924. The Soviet Union was obsessed with industrialization. They needed workers who didn't feel pain, soldiers who didn't question orders, and a labor force that could survive on half the food. Ivanov received $10,000, a fortune at the time, and a mandate from the Academy of Sciences. His destination? French Guiana. His mission? To crossbreed Homo sapiens with Pan troglodytes, the common chimpanzee. The first attempts in Africa were failures, but Ivanov wasn't finished. He realized he needed a more controlled environment. He moved the operation to a clandestine facility in Sukhumi, Georgia. Here is where the story crosses into the forbidden. Ivanov didn't just use animals. In 1929, he sought out human volunteers. Internal documents, only declassified decades later, reveal a woman identified only as G. She agreed to be the first human mother to a hybrid, but she didn't know the truth of the genetic cocktail Ivanov was preparing. Before the procedure could reach completion, the father of the experiment, the orangutan donor, died. And then the purge began. Suddenly, the Soviet government realized that if the world found out they were trying to breed subhuman slaves, they would be pariahs. Ivanov was no longer an asset, he was a liability. In 1930, the secret police arrived. Ivanov was arrested, stripped of his titles, and exiled to Kazakhstan. The records of the Sukhumi lab burned. The fate of volunteer G and the other women involved deleted from history. But rumors persist that in the overgrown ruins of that Georgian lab, the bones found in the 1970s didn't look entirely human. We like to think science is a search for truth, but Hidden Lab reminds us that sometimes science is just a search for power, and power doesn't have a conscience. This was the dark side of progress.